So today we're going to take a look at an 80 gigabit per second enclosure that might just be the best one on the market.
YouTube, welcome to Geek Shh.
So today we're taking a look at the TBE-X5Max, an 80 gigabit per second enclosure that not only supports PCIe 4.0, but 5.0 as well. Now, full disclosure, this unit was sent to me by TESmart for review. However, they will not be seeing my review before it goes live on my channel. And I also will not be catering my opinions to suit their needs. So in the box, we have a screwdriver that unfortunately is not magnetic, a manual, a 80 gigabit per second cable, which comes in at about 20 inches from end to end, 2 screws, 2 thermal pads, and the unit itself. Now the unit itself comes in a little over 4 inches horizontally, under 2 inches vertically, and a little under 1 inch in width while weighing in at 137 grams, which equates to about 0.3 pounds. All right, y'all, so back to the overview of the unit. It feels pretty sturdy in my hands, made out of solid aluminum construction with cutouts all around it, which I assume support both intake as well as outtakes. So let's go ahead and open up the unit and lay down one of the thermal pads. Then we're going to populate it with a SN850X. Then we're going to lay down another thermal pad on top of that. And then we'll go ahead and close it all up and head over to our desktop. All right, guys, so what we want to do is head over to this utility, click on the drive that we're using in the TESmart, and then we're going to go ahead and click erase. And then we're going to rename it. I'm going to name mine TESmart SN850X. Make sure that is on APFS and go ahead and click erase. All right, now let's run some tests. All right, so I just want to show y'all how it shows up under system information. Under Thunderbolt, you see it's 80 gigabits per second, and it shows up as USB 4 V2. All right, guys, so what we're going to do now is basically do a little stress test. And to monitor the temperature, we're going to use SmartMon tools, which is a great little way to get a little information, not a little, but a lot of information from your terminal about the drive that you're using. As you can see right here, we're using the SN850X. And this is a great tool because it'll let you know a lot of the information that the manufacturer wants you to know. So as for an example, right here, it shows you the specs from the manufacturer as to when you're at a warning state with the temperature of your drive. So anytime you get to 90 to 93 degrees, you're at a warning state temperature threshold. If you get to 94 degrees or more, you're at a critical state temperature threshold. So basically you want your drive to operate at 89 degrees Celsius or lower to be within spec from what Western Digital basically recommends. So we're going to use this to monitor the temperature. As you can see right here, we're at 34 degrees Celsius. So let me go ahead and press that again. We're at 34 degrees Celsius. Also, I'm going to go ahead and let you know the temperature in my office. So currently we're at 74 degrees Fahrenheit, or in Celsius, it's 23 degrees Celsius right now, ambient temperature. And then I'm gonna show you the temperature of the enclosure as we're running the test. Now, what we're gonna do is basically send this folder over to my internal drive, and then we're gonna send a folder of equal value back from my internal drive to the external drive. So that's how we're gonna test the temperature. And I'm going to keep track of the temperature by refreshing SmartMon tools every about 30 seconds. So let's go ahead and get things started. Let's go ahead and send it over. All right, let's click start right here, and we're going to keep track of what's going on. All right. All right, so basically at 52 degrees Celsius, and the enclosure is at 34 degrees Celsius. So now let's send a folder back over to the SN850X and resume. All right. This is where it basically takes longer to get there. And you know, it's harder for the drive at this point. And this is when it really should stress it out, and we should really see how high the temperature get when we're sending it from the internal drive back on over to the SN850X.
Perfect.
All right, so there you have it. We saw a maximum temperature of the internal drive reaching of 66 degrees Celsius. And I think the max temperature that we saw the enclosure reach is 40 degrees Celsius. Now I'm gonna see how long it takes for the drive to basically get back down to like 50 degrees Celsius. All right, so between 2 to 3 minutes, it got it back down way past 50 degrees Celsius. Actually got it back down to 43 degrees Celsius by the time we hit 3 minutes. So that's pretty good. The fan was ramping up like crazy. So even with the fan ramped up, it's still fairly quiet. All right, so currently I have a 9100 Pro in the enclosure. Let's go ahead and test to see exactly what type of speeds we get in Blackmagic disk speed test. Let me go ahead and click on that. Go ahead and click start. All right, now we're jumping up in speeds. Now we're at 6,500 on write and around the same 5,800 in read. All right, the same as the SN850X when it comes to read. Now let's go to the 5 gig test. All right, and we're jumping up 6,400 and 5,900 in read. All right. All right, and here you go with the amorphous TESmart speed test. Right here, you can see the speeds that it's getting. So after using this for a few weeks, this is what I love about it. I love the construction because it's built like almost like a tank for an 80 gigabit per second enclosure. Also, I love the fact that it kept the temperatures under 66 degrees during the stress test. Also, I love the fact that it kept the enclosure itself around 40 degrees. Now, also the fan noise is minimal. It doesn't get loud at all. It's more like a light breeze. Also, I love the fact that the fan was ramping up as we got more and more into the stress test. When I went back and read the manual, it has quad fan speed, so it changes the RPM when it needs to. Now, let's talk about my gripes. I don't like the fact that the fan turns on randomly throughout the day. So 1 or 2 times throughout the day, the fan would just turn on and stay on for about an hour straight. Now, I told y'all the fan noise is not loud at all, so it's not that big of a deal, but I gotta let you guys know that it happens periodically throughout the day. Now, what I also don't like about this is the price. It is 2 times, or in some circumstances, 3 times more than its competitors. Now, it does have the ability to use PCIe 5.0, so you could pop in the Samsung 9100 Pro, whereas a lot of its competitors cannot do that. A lot of its competitors can't do that, but not all. Some can. And for the price, I don't think that it's blowing this competition out the water. So I just think they should price it better. Anyway, my name is DeMarco Payne for Geek. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And last but not least, may the good news be yours.